All right, you loyal listeners. Welcome to another episode of Agency Intelligence Podcast, giving you that real agency intelligence and not that artificial that they try to make you believe out there. Now, you've heard me say that for years and years. I mean, I millions of times have probably said that. It's been heard out there, right? I haven't said it millions of times, but I know for a fact that we have over 3 million listens in the last 12 years, actually 12 years. So I know for that. And when I say it, I want to give you the real agency intelligence and not the artificial that they try to make you believe out there. If you go and you read an article I read, I don't know when this podcast is coming out. I wrote it on May 2nd. It's on LinkedIn. I actually posted it on there and actually wrote it on the LinkedIn platform because I think it's important. And I want you to go check that article out, because what I do is I talk about the fact that a lot of people out there are not telling the truth. They're not giving you the real agency intelligence. They're giving you the artificial intelligence, right? They're giving you the not real intelligence. Okay. The not real, meaning they're not telling you the whole story. And I'm not here to bust companies out. That's what I do. That's not what I do in the article. What I do is we're going to talk about the fact that people need to know the questions to ask, because there's a lot of people out there who are saying that they have this and that, and they really truly don't. And so there are some good players out there that I can have that conversation with you one-on-one. But I'm a businessman. I'm a capitalist. I believe every business should have its own opportunity to have its own way to express itself, to sell. I think that what we can do is what we've done very good in society and in our industry is educate agency owners, educate people on what their options are, and let them be the best choice, right? Who am I to dictate who's bad or not? I'm not saying that. I think a lot of these companies are good. I just don't think that their practices of how they're explaining their technology to agents is coming off in a truthful manner. And it's almost like it's not that they're not telling you, it's not that they're telling you the truth, it's that they're not telling you the truth, if that really kind of makes sense. But anyways, go read the article, check it out. I don't want to get distracted on that. But I wanted you to think about that. And another thing you can do is you can also go to AINDtech.com, AINDIETECH.com. You can go there and you can check out where we're going to be January 27th, January 27th, 28th, and 29th down in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to have BrainShare and IndieTech. Remember, BrainShare is invite only, okay? So it opens up early to all of our masterminds. We have a private mastermind where we talk about and we discuss and we hang out as a community, been doing since 2014. Always known as kind of the most innovative group out there. That's who we are. We're not large, but what we do is we keep it small so that we make sure that we're building with people who are giving you the real agency intelligence and not the artificial out there, right? Same kind of concept. And inside of that group, we've really matured into to learning a lot about some of this stuff. Now, I apologize. I totally lost my train of thought when I got into that. So the thing that I want to talk about today, and I want to talk about specifically, so we don't get off on it, as another topic. Another time I was going to do a podcast, it was, and I got off on it, which was time and money. And I think this is important because this is the relevance and the importance of I think, in my opinion, people will come back and will hear and think about time and money in 20, 30, 40, 50 years in completely different ways than we think about time and money today. And I want to talk about that, and I want to bring that into our agencies and why this matters, right? And why this impact, this explosion right now that's happening. I mean, I can see it as clear as can be. I can see it clearly where our agencies are going, what they're going to look like in the future. I see it clearly. Actually, the further I go out, it's more clear, right? It's that transition time of us saying, okay, it's here to here is what's different, right? And from here to here. And if you've listened to my other podcast, remember as we moved through the music industry, like those were all changes they had, but then there was a point in time of transformation. Our time as independent insurance agents, the transformation is here, right? It's time to and you've got to become something different, transform, not change. There's a difference between the two. And when we look at what we're doing right now and we look in and we see how bots are playing in our life, it's very, very easy to see how our agencies are going to change. We've been saying for a long time, we've always known that, hey, we get somebody, we need something done in our agency, we hire somebody with a license, right? Sometimes we get a part-time person. That never works out because there's so much training involved. They got to just do the basic things. Now the basic things really can't be done anymore, like filing things and sending out mail and receiving it. A lot of that stuff is being eliminated, right, by technology already. We didn't even realize it, but that started being eliminated. Email coming along. I mean, really think about it. If you, a lot of you that are listening were there, but a lot of you weren't. There was a point in time in the early 2000s that a lot of our people, a lot of our carriers, agents, we had to still go to a manual and flip through it and write out the formula of this times this. And, oh, do they have this many drivers in this? And then not only just come up with a rate, but then you had to fill it out on an app, kind of like an application for the client. You put all the numbers in there, then you'd put in the information, you'd put it in an envelope, and then you'd mail it to the insurance company. And they would get it in a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Then they would get it out, look at it, da 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 da. They may call you, or they may just figure out the rate, take 3 days, take 7 days, whatever it was, put it back in the envelope and send it back. I mean, that is where, now, can you imagine when email came along and you could instantly send that? Think of that productivity gain of that whole scenario I just explained to you, as opposed to now just put it into an email and then you still have to do the rating thing. That came along not until about the mid 2000s. So then you had the rating thing come along. So now you could do the rate and the email together. You built your productivity, gained it by like 99%. Right? Your efficiency of doing so much, using the same was so much less, right? Doing things so differently. That's the same impact we're at now, except we can do it with higher level stuff. We can do it things that help enhance who we are in the world based on it. And we don't enhance ourselves by all of a sudden like, oh, look, now I can draw. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's programs out there that can make it look like that you can draw. But I will tell you what, people who can already draw, when they go use those same programs, it's going to look better than yours. Right? This is what I'm saying. It enhances. It doesn't, it's in some natures it equalizes, but it enhances. And so when we look at that in our agency, that we have to say, okay, wait a minute. If that's going to happen, what does that mean? That means whatever it takes time for you to do, basically on most of the tasks you do in your agency, you're going to be able to do them by 70 to 90% faster in the next 3 to 5 years. And actually probably for the very high scores, what I call high AIs scores, AIES, those are Agency Intelligence Efficiency Score. It's a formula that I've created just recently in the last week or two. You're going to see it when I've got my new book that's coming out. It'll be out in about 6 weeks, and I'm going to deliver this to the industry and showing everybody all these metrics that we're going to be using then. Doesn't mean the metrics today are bad. We still are using our metrics because we're still changing, right? But when we transform, some of those metrics we use today will go with us, but there will be new metrics we will use. There will be new models we will use. And I don't know when you're listening to this. I'm recording this on a Saturday on May 3rd. And so, I mean, you may hear this may be out in the middle of June, right? I think a lot of people have probably already read it by June 1st because it's almost done. I went back and I last night read through it at 8 o'clock at night. And I didn't like a part of it. So I axed a big part of that because, and I don't want to say I axed it, I actually added to it because I don't think one of the things I'm trying to do is make sure in this that I speak to you in a very simplistic form so you understand it, see the metrics, see the gain, and a way to implement it. The thing giving you checklists of things to do, right? Giving you examples of other agencies and what they look like and how they did it. That's the goal of this whole thing. So that's what I'm trying to do. Getting back to time and money. Your time is your money. Okay. You know this. Now I want you to think though, I want you to be a little bit more open-minded what I'm going to ask you though to think about when I say time and money. Are for I don't know how long. I'm just going to say for the last like 1,000 years, 500 years, whatever. I don't know. But like a sophisticated way of you being expected, maybe it's in the last 200 years, I don't know. You expected to get up, go to work, come home, and do it again. Whether you want to have a family and all that other stuff doesn't matter. One thing you have to do is you have to work, right? You have to sleep and you have to work in this existence. People say, oh, you don't have to work. Okay, you don't have to. I get it. But you know what I mean. If you want to have anything, I'm talking about a roof over your house. Doesn't even care how big the house is, right? You have to work. That has always been who we are. That's what we set our kids up. That's why they go to school. That's what we tell them their whole life is da 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 da. And when we get there, no one really wants to do it. But what do we all do as you get older? You just realize that's the way life is. I agree 100%. That's how it is. That's how it should be. I agree. I have a 25 and 19-year-old. I've been preaching this for the last 25 years. I agree with you. But I think that's going to change. I think 40, 60, 80 years, right when I'm probably getting ready to go out of this place, that will be different. I truly believe we will have a universal income. I really do. I could get going down that, but I don't want to do. I want to stay in insurance agencies, but universal income only makes sense. It's going things today that cost $10 to make, we're going to be making for 50 cents, right? Textiles, foods, pharmaceuticals, different types of services will be done for fractions of the price. That will start occurring in the next 3 to 5 years. But I'm talking 40 to 50 years out. That's where we'll be. It'll be to the point where government will either have to say, stop with all the automation so we can actually keep jobs, or let's go ahead and keep the automation going, allow the people to stay home. And you say, but wait a minute, the businesses make so much money. Sure do. Their margins are going to increase by 1,000, 10,000%. The government hits them on a fine of about 20% of all that margin and says that's the tax. You're allowed to eliminate your employees, but you're going to pay us a tax on your margin you have, and we're going to feed the citizens. That's what they're going to do. And I truly believe my great grandkids they're going to look back and they'll be like, wow, there was that time where you had to do all this stuff in order to make society work and make a living. I know that sounds like some kumbaya hippie stuff, and I am with you. You got to keep in mind. Now stop. I said, keep your mind open. Jason Cass, I'm an exennial. I believe what you do. I can't even comprehend what that would be like, but I know that's what it's going to be like. So when we come back to our agency and we say, how do we get our battle back? How do we get our time and money back? That's the question. That's the question we should be asking ourselves. With all these tools coming along and knowing all these things that we know, this is the reason why it's never been crazy. It wasn't crazy like this earlier in 20, 30, 40 years ago working in an agency. It was always a business. It was always sometimes a rat race. But today it's just crazy. We got to go to 700 platforms. We're having more work from carriers being pushed on us, even though because now there's more technology. We're increasing our own productivity, but we're not utilizing it correctly. We're becoming more efficient every day, and we don't realize it, and we're not redeploying that to the productivity side. This is only going to continue on. And what it's going to be is it's going to be a battle for our time and money. And as independent agents, we're in this together. It's us. And when I say that it's us, it's us. This is why I say indie tech, right? Why do I say indie tech? Because InsurTech is technology made by for and by the insurance carriers so that they can do business with us and they can do business with the clients, right? Their customers, our mutual customers. Indie tech is technology that is made for us to talk to our carriers and to our mutual customers. And that's a difference on the way that it's being looked at because their technology is trying to make their life much easier and simpler. And in the meantime, we're not adapting to that over on the AI side. And when I say AI, I'm sorry, IA side, the independent agent side, the carrier versus that side. And it's about time that we start looking at those because they are pushing in business off to us. You've known they've been doing that for the last 5, 10, 15 years. Some of our I've said this for a long time. Some of the carriers who give the biggest contingencies and have the best bonus plans are the ones who are pushing the most work off onto the agent. I firmly believe that. If somebody would line that up and do a program on that, I guarantee you somebody out there, if you want to do it, do a written investigation, somehow figuring out, do not an investigation, but do a survey of agents and you could somehow find out that information. And I would be willing to bet that those who probably don't have very good portals, probably don't download, probably just do not make it easy on the agent, but boy, they pay a nice contingency. See, that's a battle for our time and money. We can do something about that. We can utilize technology that's been made for us. Now we can take our technology that we've used and we can integrate it into our systems. And now our systems and AI are working together, right? So now we're really speeding it up. I'll give you speeding up to where we are. Let me give you an example before I keep on with time and money. Mitch Gibson, he is a baseball coach for Greenfield High School. And he records all of the games with his GoPros and stuff. He has a statistician that sits there and does it like they do for high school, but they input this stuff differently. They input it like you would normally read it for stats, but Mitch knows what the AI is looking for and how the AI needs to understand what wording needs to be said so that when at the end of the game, he can feed it into a computer and it charts out where all the hits are. Right in ChatGPT, like right in the tool that you pay $20 a month for. But you have to know how chat wants it to read, how AI wants it to read. You know how you figure that out? You ask it and it tells you. And then he tells his statistician, hey, do it like you normally do. Ball hit the ground. That's a 2-3-1, whatever, double play, whatever that stuff is. I don't know that stuff. But keep that. But we also need to be able to translate that into this language so it can. Now, what does that mean? That means that Mitch is utilizing the same technology that the Major League Baseball team is. He is able to move his team around the infield and and move them around based on whenever that next batter comes up. He already knows how that batter's already hit in other games, right? Because if the AI if you can translate the regular baseball stats into AI for your team, you could do that for any team in any game. You now have a spray chart immediately of what other teams are hitting. This is all the same stuff that Major League Baseball and the minor leagues do, now being brought down, creating and closing that gap, right? That's the kind of stuff. That's why what I've said before in digital Darwinism. Darwin never really said that the strongest for survive or it's the strongest of the species. He never said that. He actually said it's not the strongest of the species nor the most intelligent that will survive, but those who are most adaptable to change. Right. So it's about those being able to say, like, there's people saying probably to Mitch, oh, he can't use that. That's terrible that he's using that type of thing. He's taken away from the game. Well, keep saying that. In the meantime, he's going to keep winning. Right. That's where we're at here in our industry, in our agencies in this. And so for the battle of our time and money, we have to start looking and saying, wait a minute, there are 22 buckets on the service side. And I'm actually probably going to change it to 20. I think there's 20. There's 20 buckets on the service side, and there's about 5 or 6 buckets on the sales side. Now, this isn't me. This is me and other people who have put this together, who have not, we didn't work in conjunction, but me listening to what them saying, me going into my agency, looking at what they're saying and saying, yeah, this is pretty legit. That's why I think it's a little different. But think of everything going into a bucket, right? Now, you need those to know what those buckets are. And you need to know that there's three different types of ways of doing that, right? There's going to be licensed. There's going to be VEs, which is going to be mainly their job is to manage bots. And then you're going to have fully autonomous bots. So I see it as 3: licensed, VE managed bots, and then a fully autonomous. And we can get deeper into that and what that means, but understanding which each one of those buckets represents. So each of those buckets, there's specific tasks that are related to that bucket. We, in this report that I'm delivering in 6 weeks, I have tasked every task there is and corresponded it directly to, is that a licensed? Is that going to be a managed bot or is that an autonomous bot? Now today, it's going to show what it's going to look like in 2030. Here's the deal. What I'm delivering to you guys as I wrap up, I want you to know this, all right? Time and money is important. Time and money is absolutely the most important. And why I see, you've heard me say it before, you've got $1 million revenue agency and you're spending $600,000 to $650,000. According to Reagan's best practices, it's $550,000 is what the, not the best top tier, but the near top tier is at 55. So that means $550,000 of $1 million in revenue they bring in are going to our people. I'm not against that. That's not what I'm against. What I am against is the fact that we are utilizing people in a way that offsets that. People would say, well, it's terrible that you would take away jobs. First of all, we're not taking away jobs. That's called the swing efficiency score. That's another metric I'll tell you about. But we're not taking away jobs. What we're doing is we're redeploying them into different areas, and we're actually coming with a true margin of where we should be. And I believe it should be between, by 2030, I'm going to say 40 to 45%. I believe by 2035, it'll be less than 30%. That means that'll be the amount we spend on our people. I'm going to put this in the report and everything to you guys. Okay. So you guys will be able to see it. But your time and your money, how you get it back is by you understanding the model of, I put this task with this, I put this task with this, I put this task with this. Very few tasks will be with licensed people. And I just want to tell you, there's more licensed people in an agency today than there are VEs and bots. There will be few less licensed people in 10 to 15 years, and there will be just as many VEs and a lot more bots. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that right now. The licensed people will have the fewest jobs because they will be doing just very, very few tasks that require just a high level job. Now, that's on the service side. Remember, I said that there's also buckets. There's 5 buckets over here. This over here will be dominated by humans for as far as I can see. And this is more of the sales side, more of the communication, the more of the front line, the more of the, hand holding, all the things that you need for a licensed person, but not even a licensed person, because we're going to have licensed bots. That bots are going to be smarter than us anyways. It's more about just being human, right? It's more about we need a human there, not so much that we need license. We have this big license thing right now. That's not going to be an issue in the future. When we talk about humans being smart, or when we talk about bots being smarter than humans, do you understand what that means? Do you understand what that means? Like, think about what that means. Like, oh, well, there's going to be bots that are going to be smarter than humans. I don't know about you, but chat's pretty damn smarter than most humans, in my opinion, if you talk to it. But being for real, what does that mean? When it says that this computer is smarter than every human, don't think just mathematics. Don't think just like, oh, it's going to be intelligent. Think this. Everybody, there is somebody who is really awesome at one thing. And you've got a friend over here, they're really awesome at one thing. I mean, dude, they might be the best person in the world at that thing. They're that good at it, right? That is what AI is in everything. In everything. So when you start asking it, like, how should we do if I ask chat right now, how should I create a proposal for my personal lines team, 3 different ways that we should do a renewal strategy that we can test, right? And boom, 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 boom. It does that. It does that now. But it's going to be able to not just say, here's some options. It's going to know everything. It's going to know everything about your office and you and say, this is the best way. These are the type of clients that you're bringing in. This is how you do it. And it's not like we're going to be like, well, I don't know if she's right. No, it's going to be right like 99.9% of the time, right? Always have human oversight. I'm not trying to sit here and live in the land of robots. Our agencies are still going to look the same. We're still going to have like walls and stuff, right? Things aren't going to turn into shiny metal, and we're all going to be walking around wearing black and gray, right? We do have a lot of black and white, gray cars today. I got to admit, we do need to get more colors in our cars. But that is kind of what I'm going to be talking about this for the next 12 months, 14 months. I'm going to be talking about Agency Intelligence 2030. And if you think there's a better name for it, please let me know. I would definitely love it. As I close, why did I do this? I did this because when it's almost the source of truth is what it is. It's the source of truth that I was looking for, that I could help agencies peg their destiny to. But it had to be from a source of truth. Meaning, if I tell you that it's $7.50 on average to add or delete a vehicle in an agency, that doesn't have a lot of source of truth, because it does. Even if I did it in my agency and I ran it and I did it 10 million times, and that's what it came up to be, that's not true in New York. That's not true in Oklahoma. It's $5 in Oklahoma. It's $13 in New York. So as agents, when you hear me say something about what goes on in my agency, one of the things we always think is, well, that could never go on in my agency for all these millions of different of reasons. And we needed a source of truth that, and that's what has stumped me for the last like 5 or 6 months on trying to think how do I explain to agencies that there is an amount of money associated with a task? And if you can do it for 99 cents and I can show you that you're doing it for $7.50, I think I could get you to be convinced that this is something that's important, not only for the sanity and future of your agency, but also for your sell and your buyout and the time that you decide to move on. I do think that. But I don't have the source of truth. I don't have numbers that I could say, these are the numbers. A couple weeks ago, I woke up at 3:50 in the morning and it hit me out of nowhere. It was Reagan's best practices. It's the best that we have. Now, whether you like it or not, I agree. Very wide variance on some of the stuff that they come up with, but that's got to be a hard report. And I think they do a fantastic job at it, considering there's 40,000 agencies and we literally run almost all of them completely separate. Even in clusters and groups, they run them all separate, right? Differently. So I got to give it to Reagan's best practices. But the fact is that when you look at Reagan, it's usually looking back 3 years on agencies, right? And then it's telling us today what those best were doing over the last 3 years. And they're probably doing better at that time than when we're reading it, right? So I went and bought the last 3 reports. I bought the past 5, but I only used the last 3 in my trajectory. Going back to 2020 and 2021, it was pretty much the same, but I didn't want to bring those in. I wanted to be just on a solid 3 years and say, look, this is what it is. fed it into ChatGPT, really started modeling it, asking it questions, got the $200 version a month of the ChatGPT to do deep searching. I mean, deep thinking. I would give it questions and ask it different ways of how agencies should do this. And it would take like 45 minutes, sometimes an hour to come back to me with it. In the last time that I went with it as we're developing and I'm almost done building all this out, it came to me and said, okay, for me to do this, it's going to take me 24 to 36 hours. And it did. It took it 24, 36 hours. It was more than that, I think. The cool thing is as I'm building this project out, I'm having chat keep track on a timeline of all the times. Every time we're doing something, every time we think of something new, every time we're having a conversation, how long was that conversation? How many drafts did we go back and forth? I'm having it keep all of this data for us so that as we build this together, it allows me to take what I know about agencies and what I can read and intercept into that Reagan's and then populate it to a deep thinking machine and have it say to you, hey, here's what we think. Have you thought of this? Because I said to it, what are the metrics in the future that's not being measured today from Reagan? What's out there that we don't see? Because you don't know until you know. Now, how do you know though, right? I say that the world looks a lot like Star Wars and Star Trek because somebody said, hey, this is what the future looks like. And then we just all go that way, right? We go towards images. I mean, come on. I think we can do that right now. I think all of us as a industry can do that. I think we can take this report and we can say, hey, these are some metrics we can use. I want other people to give me their metrics. We need to start thinking about this stuff, right? Metrics are real. And what are those metrics? And we're going to talk about them for the next 12 months. I'm telling you, it's going to be exciting. And it shows you real ways how to measure these things. Taking net revenue and dividing it by your total labor cost, your total VE cost, your total bot cost and tech cost, and taking it times 100 is actually going to give you your revenue per human layer score. Then there's a strategy built on that. At the end of the day, it's all about putting premium on the books. It's all about getting clients to join us. There's no doubt about that. The thing about it is, guys, we're really good at that. Okay, we're really good at that. We're so good at it that we barely market and we still make hundreds of thousands of dollars in new business every month or every year. Okay, we're really good at that. So everybody, that's the number one thing that people that get scared of technology, they're like, oh gosh, why don't we just make it simple and it is simple. We are making it simple. What's a mess is what it is right now. I mean, if you go and close your door and sit in there and you sit in your little world and you're thinking everything's great, go sit out in your office. It's a mess. Nothing connects. Nothing's working. Stops working. Breaks all the time. They need technology maybe. If they don't even have it, they need it, but no one's getting it for them. It's easy for me and you to go looking for a brand new 2025 Audi, but that's not realization of a lot of people walking out of our agencies. That's what I'm trying to fix, trying to fix your time and money. Because I think when I show you this and I give you your time and your money, I think you're going to see real fast that like we're putting on $1 million agency revenue, putting $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 back in your pocket by the year 2030 on that same $1 million revenue. And because of the swing efficiency score, which measures our productivity when we redeploy those labors from our efficiencies and we redeploy them to productivity, our swing efficiency score starts to tell us and starts to show us, wow, I'm not firing people. I'm actually producing more business. Wow. So for all those who say, hey, why don't we just get back to just selling? That's what we're doing. We're going to make you better on the efficiency side of your service so we can redeploy those back to productivity and then we can excel. Because remember, it doesn't matter how big you are. It just matters. Are you the most adaptable to change? right? Are you the most adaptable? That's the key. Because if you are, you're going to use these tools and you're going to be redeployed. Matt, I'm telling you, it's an exciting time. That's what we're here. And I'm sorry I went on so long with this podcast. I did not mean to do that. But I think we had a pretty enjoyable talk. I'm excited about this. If you have any questions, please hit me, Jason at agency-intelligence.com. Yeah, I'm serious. You want to talk to me? You've got some ideas. Hit me up. I'll reply back with my link. Bam, you can get on. I'll talk to you for 10, 15 minutes. If you've got something that you want to explain to me or some different thoughts or maybe things I'm not seeing, I love feedback. I have thick skin. I'm okay. Look, we're all talking about shit that we don't know if it's going to even happen. But I think what we do to look at the future is we look at trends, we look at hard trends, and we look at soft trends. If you've been using ChatGPT, Gemini, any of these things, 20% of the time in your life, you realize very quickly how fast you are getting back time in your life because of things that normally would have taken you an hour now take you 5 to 10 minutes. And it's even better than if it would have taken you an hour. Everything in your life is going to start being like that. Everything in your business life is going to start being like that. Now, when that starts to happen, what do we do? Right? What do we do? And those are the questions and those things that we're going to talk about in the coming months and the coming years together, because it's now time for us as independent insurance agents to build that for 2030. This road we have been given, that we are walking upon right now, that has been laid by those who came before us. I'm so appreciative of them. And I know you are too. I say it all the time that this business has allowed me to meet people that I've never met, go places I've never went, and actually give my family the life that I never thought that I could give them. I want people to have that same feeling when I'm older and whenever I'm getting ready to sell my agency. Somebody else is going to buy it and is going to have that feeling. It's the greatest time right now to be an IA. And guess what? We get to reinvent now, right? That road is kind of like what Doc said, right? Back to the Future. At the end, they put all the vegetables and stuff of Back to the Future 1. They put all the vegetables in the car and then they're backing up. And he says, and remember what Marty says to Doc? He says, Doc, he says, do you think we have enough roads to get to 88 miles per hour? And remember what Doc says back to him? He says, Marty, where we're going, we don't need roads. The road that's been laid has been very well appreciated, but the road that we're going to take to 2030, we don't need roads, baby. It's us. We get to determine what it looks like, and I'm excited. I do what I do because I do it for you. Tell me your ideas and tell me your thoughts, and I'm going to tell the world what you have to say. This has been Jason Cass. I'm out.